Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
New Attorney General sworn in. Details to the story and more coming up in the National Report. Welcome back. This is the National Report for today, Tuesday, January 8th, 2018. I am Wendy Edmond with the details. Attorney-at-Law Mr. Dashan Ramdani is Grenada's new Attorney General. Mr. Ramdani was sworn in by Governor-General Dame Cecilia Grenade on Tuesday. He replaces Legal Affairs Minister Honorable Kindra Mathurin-Stewart, who has been acting in the position since former Attorney General Sir Lawrence Joseph demitted office last year. As Attorney General, Mr. Ramdani is the principal legal advisor to the Government of Grenada. Mr. Ramdani has extensive experience in the legal field, having been an attorney for more than 20 years. He has served as a judge in several regional territories, including St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Antigua, British Virgin Islands, and Anguilla. The new Attorney General previously served as Grenada's Solicitor General from November 2009 to June 2013 and Senior Crown Counsel from January 2003 to June 2007. He also served as the Acting Director of Public Prosecution for various two-month periods between 2006 and 2007. Mr. Ramdani is admitted to practice law in Grenada, Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, and the state of New York in the USA. Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, is warning that Grenada's financial base can be eroded if government is to yield to the demands of trade unions for 25% advanced payment on pension or gratuity. Dr. Mitchell, who was a guest on GBN's Beyond the Headlines on Monday, said data has already been presented to the unions to show why this cannot work. And in the process of negotiations to ensure transparency, they have even invited them to view the data, something that is not usually done. Government has moved its offer from 2% to 8%, but the unions are still insisting on 25%.
We are saying that what they are asking for, 25% on the old colonial formula, will destroy the country's financial base and cause us major problems for us to go back to where we were. And I mean, no prime minister, no government would want to bring the country back to where we were in 2008, 2013. We all remember, you know, this tremendous hardship faced by all concerned, including the public servants who never got a cent increase, who used to get salaries very, very late, and who never got increments continuously. So we're doing all of the above to tune of over $110 million in additional payment to salaries.
Dr. Mitchell reiterates that government's position is and will always be based on facts.
The decision must be based on numbers. We cannot hurt the country in the process of finding a solution to one particular problem. That's why I have to say we do not have a major problem. When you look at the economics situation in the country, all things are proceeding. I don't think anyone will qualify Grenada as having a major industrial problem, not at all.
The Government's Pension Engagement Committee, the PEC, has invited public sector trade unions and staff associations to continue pension negotiations on Friday, January 11th. The request for the continuation of talks was relayed in a letter sent Friday by Chairman of the PEC, Honorable Oliver Joseph, to the unions and the staff associations. This is the National Report. More news after the break.
big business don't participate.
Welcome back with the National Report. Prime Minister Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell says there is nothing amiss with the reassignment of permanent secretaries or any other public officers. Responding to a question on Monday's Beyond the Headlines program on the Grenada Broadcasting Network, Dr. Mitchell said ministers of government are also reassigned from time to time, and he too has changed portfolios. The question spoke specifically to what was reported in the news as the planned reassignment of the acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education, Mr. Finley Jeffrey, and linking this to matters relating to the industrial action taken by teachers last year and the resultant salary deductions made by government. Setting the record straight, the Prime Minister said the Public Service Commission is the body responsible for moving or reassigning public officers, and he is unaware that any such confirmation has been provided by that body at the time.
Between now and the 22nd of February, there could be several movement of permanent secretaries. And I know the Cabinet Secretary has informed me that she communicated officially to a number of permanent secretaries, 11 of them, about different areas of service. I don't know if any one person in the service can claim to be victimized when 11 persons were maybe moved. So I find it a bit very strange. If that is true, it appears that whoever is making those statements simply does not understand the role of a public servant and does not understand the system who appoints and who makes recommendation in the public service. And as long as you are not demoted from one position to the next, then that is the right of the Public Service Commission.
Dismissing claims of possible victimization, the Prime Minister said, and I quote, "No one is married to an area of the public service. The Public Service Commission has a responsibility to manage the public service. They can take decisions to give support to that philosophy, and that can happen at any given time." End of quote. The leadership of the public service, the Cabinet Secretary, can make recommendations for the movement of public servants as enshrined in the Grenada Constitution. In more news, the government will be taking steps to resolve the issue of traffic congestion in the capital city in 2019. That announcement by Transport Minister Honorable Gregory Bowen on Tuesday during the government's post-cabinet press briefing. Minister Bowen said the plan is to introduce a park and shuttle method will be implemented to reduce traffic into the city from the Tantine and Queen's Park areas. According to Minister Bowen, the plan to alleviate traffic congestion is expected to go into effect after the first quarter of 2019.
Park and take your bus to come to certain areas in St. George. We have discussed it already, but it will be coming in 2019. When we're looking at both sides of the town of St. George, the Tantine side and the Queen's Park side. So you should park at Queen's Park and you take a shuttle and you come into St. George. That shuttle will be moving to and fro, very quickly. So all the cars and so will now not be coming into the town to cluster traffic. You will have special vehicles that will go through, emergency vehicles, etc. So you would not have that cluster in town. And from this side, we're looking at somewhere in the Tantine area that you can park and move. The shuttle will be bringing you to town as well.
Plans are also in motion to make public transportation accessible to hotel employees and other persons who work late-night shifts and who live in rural parts of the country. Minister Bowen says government met with the Bus Association and hoteliers, and they have agreed on the way forward.
We met with the hotel staff and we met with the Bus Association. I must give them credit. They are prepared to help and they're prepared to do it. They demanded that we put the rules in place, because if 4 buses work this week and another 6 are looking at the side and they see that they make something, then they'll flood the business and everybody will break down. So they ask us to manage the bus. So we say, you 4 working today in the Wharf route, the St. Andrew route, the St. David route, another 4 will be working. And they're asking that the state should meet any shortfall in the income. In other words, they have the expenses to pay and they must make the small profit. If they don't make it, the state should meet the shortfall.
And that's it for the National Report for today, Tuesday, January 8th, 2019. On behalf of all of us in the newsroom, I am Wendy Edmond, thanking you for joining.
Stay up to date with all that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.
Do in 30 minutes. You could be on one of our 45 black and white sand beaches, or perched atop a lush mountainside admiring our stunning coastline, or slicing the Caribbean Sea on a traditionally built sloop, or adventuring off the beaten path, or hanging out with our underwater sculptures, or do nothing at all. Whatever you choose, an amazing vacation is only 30 minutes away in Grenada. Visit www.puregrenada.com.
There has been a lot of discussion about the proposed changes to the pension system in Grenada. It's quite a complicated subject, so we thought we would help to explain some of the key points over a series of short videos like this one. The first thing we need to do is to understand where we are, where we have come from, and where we want to go. Grenada has emerged from one of the most successful structural adjustment programs ever, certainly in the Caribbean. The government did this while enacting programs to protect its citizens, with reductions in income tax, removal of income tax on pensions, and increases in wages. But most importantly, they did all of this without the loss of a single job. We only need to look around at our neighbours to see what a remarkable achievement this really is. Barbados, for example, had a 10-year wage freeze, and workers only received a 5% increase after elections. But this was very quickly followed by significant job cuts. In Grenada, we have had numerous increases over the last 10 years, even as we went through the structural adjustment, and again, not a single job was lost. The government has also honoured its commitments to pensioners in all cases. The case of Mrs. Armstrong proves this point. The government has honoured the interpretation of the courts and paid out all monies due to ensure that the letter of the law has been followed. Two of the main areas of concern are the issue of gratuities and the issue of retirement age. and we're going to do separate videos to explain each of these in more detail. But the main things to remember are these. A gratuity is not a bonus. It's much more like a loan. A person retiring gets to take some of their money sooner rather than later and pays this back over time. This can be both good and bad. More money now means less money later, and we will discuss the issues surrounding this in our next video. But the key thing to remember is that the percentage of the gratuity doesn't change the amount that someone will receive. It only changes the timing of when they will receive it, and that too much too soon will leave too little later on. In relation to the second item, retirement age, it is no secret that everyone is living longer, and much of this is due to better healthcare, better nutrition, a safer working environment, and other government policies that protect people and help them to live longer and more active lives. That's the important part. People aren't just living longer, they're aging more slowly, and many still want to contribute beyond the current retirement age. Grenada has actually been rather late in changing its retirement age. Dominica is at 62. Trinidad and Jamaica are at 65. And in Barbados, the current age of retirement is now 67. There is also another matter of fiscal prudence. Because people are living longer in retirement, the total amounts paid out by government are increasing, and this needs to be balanced against the money that is coming in to ensure that each and every Grenadian can receive the retirement benefits that they are entitled to. And in many ways, that is what this discussion is all about. We need to ensure that whatever policies we agree to now are sustainable, and that they will work now and into the future. Let's think about all these things seriously and look at all angles. If you do, you will see the constraints that we must work within to achieve our overall objectives of ensuring that everyone has enough money to live comfortably in retirement. When you put it all together, it becomes fairly clear that the government's proposed solutions are very close to the ideal and are the best way forward for Grenada. Let's keep working together for the best of Grenada.
They don't understand. Independent don't have still remain a mental sham. I must let them know my independence manifesto. When we could manufacture cocoa, then we independent and stop import all the Milo. Then we independent. When we could stop the Kentucky flow, then we independent and promote the local chicken some more. Then we independent. Ahoy, 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 ahoy.
And good morning to you, Grenada, Carriacou, and Pity Martinique. Once again, it is time for Hard Talk. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And we are live on 97.5 City Sound FM.
89.5 CRFM.
92.9 Sister Isle FM, broadcasting out of Hillsborough in Carriacou.
And 94.9 WeiVybz Radio in Brooklyn, New York. Good morning to all.
And we're live as well on YouTube. Yeah, Hard Talk Grenada. If you go on YouTube and just look for Hard Talk Grenada, you'll see us live. Yeah, and we're also live on Facebook on Hard Talk Grenada Live. You look for that on Facebook, you'll see us. And on our website, www.hardtalkgrenada.com. Yeah, so you have all different ways of listening. No excuse.
No excuse.
No matter where you are.
Yeah,
you could be on a space shuttle going around the earth. They have internet connection up there. Best internet connection, in fact.
I see they send up one way in Mars or wherever.
They send one to Mars?
Some robot, something.
Right, somebody may be watching Hard Talk on Mars, right?
Yeah, you understand? I'm sure you have the internet link there, you know?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So Hard Talk right there, I mean, because they need the information.
Hard Talk indeed, yeah.
Especially what goes on in Grenada. You understand? There's so many good things going on in this country that people just want to know. They are curious to be informed, right, of the progress this country is making over the last couple of years.
Well, let me sell out the party now. Devon give me the call. Yeah. Devon came here and he gave me and technical man the call. Technical man can't even make it inside. He gave me and technical man the call. You hear him? You hear him? You hear him? You hear him? That is what he do. He come and he give me and the technical man the call. He's giving us the flu. Yeah, but we do. Oh gosh, yeah, you see? I make a joke, not the man had to run outside. Oh gosh, folks, just remember to be careful. Some cases, especially those of you who've been traveling between the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and Grenada, that there have been cases of swine flu in the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, they have found cases of swine flu, H1N1. Remember that? Yeah. They have found cases of that down there in Trinidad, so we have to be extremely careful and we have to be on the lookout for it. Also, they have found cases within the region right now of yellow fever. Yeah, yellow fever. And around this time last year, some people had yellow fever, you know. Yeah, that didn't work out too well for them. But anyhow, yeah, yellow fever. There have been cases of yellow fever throughout the region. Yeah, some 1 or 2 cases of yellow fever, and as well as dengue has been circulating the region as well. So it is important for you to continue to clean your surroundings. Clean your place. Yeah, Christmas just done. You're supposed to have been cleaned around your area and so already. But just in case in your cleaning, you're dirty somewhere next door. So, you know, some people, like I see something in Granans. Some guys were doing some construction on one neighbor's place. And while they're doing the construction, they take all the old iron and thing and just throw it in the next neighbor place. But they didn't realize the next neighbor see it, so he come and he deal with them. Yeah. Just take all the old iron and thing. You can't do that kind of thing. What kind of people do that kind of thing? Take all the old iron and thing and go and throw it in the neighbor place. You can't, you could do a thing like that. You understand? Yeah. Right? Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Folks, I'm sorry for the little interruption, but had to be done.
Yeah, human being, you know, brother. Yeah. So if a cold take you, a cold take, that's human beings. That is why, you know, over the last few months or so, there's an incident in an island outside of India where this Christian missionary went onto a particular island and they kill him.
And they kill him.
Yeah, but he had no right there, and I don't feel sorry for him, you know. He had no right there.
Because there are laws protecting these people on that island.
But these people have been isolated from the rest of the world from ever since, over 40,000 years. That race of people, in fact, those people are one of the darker hues of black that you could find, and the island is close to India. So it's one of the original peoples. These people have not been exposed to the common cold. The flu that me and Devon have right now will kill them. Yeah, it will kill them. And yet still this guy found it necessary to try to go to bring his way of life to them, which is wrong. And he went there, so he suffered the consequences. Yeah, I don't feel sorry. He has no right being there. Sorry that a human being died.
Did they ever recover?
But the circumstance, they can't go there and recover that.
They was trying, making an attempt.
The people actually take the body and they buried it there. You know? They can't go there and recover that. They ain't taking a chance to go there. Because then they're basically doing the same thing he was doing. Yeah. So they had to forget that. Yeah? So unless they send some special team in sometime late in the night and do this kind of thing.
Really, I mean.
Yeah. Right. All right. 4407377. I listened to Honorable Gregory Boyne this morning too, man. He was spot on. Yeah. Let's deal with something immediately though, Devon. I realize that some of the elements that probably do have nothing better to do have been trying to say that Honorable Gregory Boyne was lying yesterday when he said that the unions didn't ask any permission for the activity today. As we know, the teachers will be meeting at the GBSS auditorium today for what time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. So the teachers, all teachers, and we would encourage teachers to go.
Oh, yeah.
Don't allow the 1 or 2 noisy ones that might have their agenda to make the decision for everybody else. We're not the ones that are going to be here saying that it's the teachers shouldn't go and it's wrong. No.
Go. Have to go.
We're encouraging all teachers to go. Yeah? All teachers should go, because what happens in some of these forums is that the 1 or 2 who have their own agenda, political and otherwise,
the loudmouth ones,
go and make the most noise and get things to go their way, when the majority actually hold a different view, and but just didn't find it necessary to go. And they suffer.
They suffer the consequences, you know. And so I'm appealing here. It's a meeting, right? And you was talking about
permission has been given, because yesterday Honorable Gregory Boyne was saying that permission had not been sought, and at the point in time that he was speaking, which would have been just before 12, well, after 10 yesterday, before 11.
After 10,
no permission was sought from the Ministry of Education. When permission was sought afterwards, when permission was sought, then the ministry sent out a notice to the schools saying that permission is granted. But at the point in time that the Honorable Minister was speaking, he was speaking from the situation at that point in time. Yeah, it's like me speaking yesterday and saying that my car is not wet. And me speaking this morning and saying, well, it's soaking right now because rain fell. Yeah, the situation has changed between then and now. So the situation changed. The man was not lying. So for people to try to make it look like, oh, he was lying. He went and said, they didn't ask for permission. And look, thing come out saying, they get permission.
Thing just come out.
The thing came out yesterday evening.
Yeah.
After the fact.
Yeah.
So I can understand.
Because I was surprised.
Nonsense.
When I got home yesterday, my son told me, he said, Daddy, we don't want to have day again. I said, why? I said, I told the teacher that me. He said, because no one, the teacher tell them they ain't sure or something like that, but they ain't have no half day again. So I said, well, that don't sound right. Then the release, I get to realize the release came out after. And so then a lot of teachers would have been of the opinion that permission was not sought.
The Ministry of Education has given permission for all government schools to close at 12 noon. So all schools will be closing at 12 noon for teachers to be able to leave and go to that meeting
at 1 o'clock.
The Grenada Boys Secondary School. And we do hope that common sense and good faith prevails.
Yep.
Yeah? Teachers go on out there.
Yes, go on out there. Go there in your numbers and be part of the process.
Yeah.
Right? It's your thing. Right? Let good sense, let a majority of teachers make the decision that everyone can live with. We know you won't agree with everything with each other, but let a common ground come out and not just let a few of the loud ones who have their own agenda to dominate and make decisions for a majority. It's very, very important that you do that. Get out there.
We've been ignoring the people on the live. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to all of you.
Good morning, Deepo. Good morning to you, Elsa.
Anna.
Dudes, morning.
Antonia.
Yeah.
Elsa.
Hannah, Shamin. Morning to each and every one of you.
Sonia, all of you. Good morning to you.
Yeah, Lesanne, good morning. Cynthia, good morning to each and every one of you. Folks, remember to like and share. Like and share the live.
And while we're saying good morning, I'd like to say, wonderful, a happy birthday to my grandson, Caden Francis, out there in Toronto. Sonia, give him a big hug and a kiss for me, please. Right? Yeah, his birthday is today. Happy birthday, my son.
I just see a mosquito.
Not a mosquito, a moxquito.
A mosquito.
Yeah.
I just see a mosquito fly past there. There's no way that could be a mosquito. That'd be a mosquito.
Yeah. How, I mean, as you talk about mosquito, you just remind me of a movie I was just privy to watch a few minutes, Bird Box. You guys go sit down and watch that?
Bird Box? What do you mean how you could sit down and watch it? I watched it. It was an interesting movie. It wasn't frightening for me or anything.
Nah, I mean, just not frightening for me, but...
I've seen some movies that people just wouldn't be able to watch.
The stomach, but...
I
don't have time
I have a high
to
tolerance for some of those movies.
Good morning, my friend.
How you doing, brother?
Not too bad.
Tell me something. Do we have an Attorney General?
We have a new Attorney General, yes.
Yeah, are we from Guyana? I hear a guy was saying...
But that man been in Grenada longer than me, the Guyana. Maybe he born in Guyana, but Devon could tell you.
It's the people on the other side, a guy on the other side that say that, but I see from Guyana, they're paying him $24,000 a month. I don't know where people get these type of information. I try, but, sometimes I don't really listen to them, but I was passing and I telling a guy that, I said, well, if you're doing that, if you get in that means that is why most of the teachers and others will want what they want,
Mm-hmm.
So I just try to, I just want to know, because as a follower, and I will always be a follower.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, brother.
All right, my brother. Thank you, Sonia.
What I can say in relation to this is simple. The Attorney General is government's senior person for giving legal advice, providing legal advice to the government of Grenada. Usually what happens Because, for instance, you're speaking about an individual who has been in Grenada longer than me.
The late 80s.
Been here since the 1980s.
Yeah.
They may have been born in Guyana, but they're part and parcel a Grenadian. And while people are saying that, our very own Dwight Hosford is the Attorney General in another Caribbean island.
Exactly.
So what is the problem with having someone who originates in Guyana but has spent maybe the majority of their life, as far as you know, here in Grenada?
Half of his adult life.
Here in Grenada, who has served as a magistrate at various times. I'm speaking here about Mr. Darshan Ramdhani. Yeah? Who is Ramdhani is the proper?
Yes.
Who has spent so many years here in Grenada, who is more than qualified, and is now the Attorney General of Grenada. What's the problem with that? Because Grenadians hold positions in other countries as well.
He was also the Solicitor General.
Our good friend Salambi, Ali Gill.
Ali Gill.
As is being said by one of the messages here on the box. Salambi, he was a magistrate in Dominica for several years before coming back to Grenada to serve the Grenadian people. Once again. And we have Mr. Dwight Hosford. I think he's in Montserrat or one of the islands. Montserrat or one of the islands. Mr. Dwight Hosford, our former Solicitor General, is now out there as the Attorney General in another country. So what is the problem?
Caribbean integration.
You can go to any Caribbean island and find a concentration of Grenadians there. You go to St. Lucia, it have a bunch of Grenadians. You go to Antigua, Anguilla, you name the country.
Barbados.
Once the place is inhabited,
and powerful
you're finding Grenadians there.
Powerful positions too. Right?
You have Grenadians who are senior members of police forces throughout the region right now.
And in North America.
St. Kitts right now, one of their senior police officers is a Grenadian, a guy that left here and went to become a thing there.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Scott, Mr. Romain.
Yes, sir.
I want to wish you guys a happy and productive 2019.
Thank
you.
You.
All my loyal NNP supporters out there, I'm taking this opportunity to wish each and every one of them a happy and productive 2019. And I hope that God will continue to shine on our leaders of this country, especially our Prime Minister, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell, and all his cabinet and parliamentarians. May God bless each and every one of them. This is my wish for Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique for 2019.
How's the leg?
You have a blessed day.
Before you go, how's the leg, man?
Oh my God, how you make me out?
Hey,
you can't hide from us.
Hide.
The leg is coming, man. Devon bought me out what money is. Man, Devon tell you walking boy.
Yes.
We really fooling.
I know where you come out there.
No, don't say whoosh. Don't say that on the radio, boy. You're mad.
Yes, brother, they quiet.
All right, my brother.
Right, you too.
All right.
Better?
Take care.
All right, one love. Yeah.
No, let me correct something that I said that was erroneous early in the program. I said that the letter for the request from the union for the meeting came in yesterday. I've been corrected. No request came in to the ministry for the union to get the time off for their members to have the meeting.
Wow.
No request. The ministry was informed that a meeting is taking place, but it didn't request anything.
So
they just tell the ministry that meeting taking place.
Okay.
So the PS yesterday would have given permission for teachers and the other auxiliary staff within the Ministry of Education who also belong to the GUT to attend the meeting. So they gave permission yesterday, but up to now, they have never received a request from the Grenada Union of Teachers for that meeting. But the bottom line is this: teachers, go out.
Go out there.
That's the main thing. Because we don't like to say something.
Exactly.
If we say something wrong, we come back and correct it. So no request came into the Ministry of Education at any time. a letter was sent to them that informed them that they're having a meeting. Yes, so in other words, we ain't telling you that, we having a meeting.
Yeah, we having a meeting.
You understand?
We're not seeking permission.
We having a meeting.
We having a meeting. And you see, but then again, but hey, you know what? Teachers get out there. And I would suppose that through the Ministry of Education, understanding the nature of the meeting and so on, to avoid any sort of confrontation, went ahead and say, look, you know what, let's go ahead and authorize the permission.
Yeah, the PS will do the right thing.
Yes, without, any request, but it will go on anyways, so let us do it anyways. I mean, that was quick thinking, proactiveness, right, by the PS
that's
and
good
the staff.
anyway.
Yeah, that's good. And showing that the teachers have, their say, right? And so, but then again, I always continue to say that the leaderships of organization must ensure that they direct and they give their members correct, truthful information, right, about what is going on. Direct them, lead them. They elect you to lead. Lead them the best way you can. Well, again, that's quote unquote the best way you can.
And then, of course, you've had that noise being made about which PS going where and all sorts of things.
Like that.
As I've said, the Prime Minister is the Prime Minister, shifts ministries from time to time, changes ministries. He wouldn't change as being the Prime Minister, but he changes ministries. Yeah? The different ministers change ministries. Sometimes they have portfolios added, sometimes they have portfolios shifted. Yeah? And the PSs do the same. So I can't understand what's all the noise about one particular PS being sent to. We have a call.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning to you, my friend.
I want to understand what is the mentality. So is it that certain people want to build wall in the Caribbean too? I mean, if you're from Guyana, you're not supposed to come Grenada. If you're from Grenada, you're not supposed to go St. Lucia and walk. You're not so.
It's called xenophobia.
You want to build wall down there too?
Yeah, fence.
But it's called xenophobia. That's what it's called, xenophobia.
No, but I mean, it's
they're acting like Trump, eh?
It's a ridiculous mentality, because everywhere you go, you find either Grenadians or Guyanese or St. Lucians or Americans or people from different countries in Africa. We go all over the world and walk, even from China, and we are very successful. The idea is so stupid to me that you have very successful people all over the world. And I think if I'm not mistaken, you have a young lady in Canada. I think she is a politician. I think she has a very high position. I think I can't remember.
Yeah,
even we have good judges all over the places.
There are two parliamentarians, one former and one present in the Canadian government who are basically Grenadians.
Right. So what are we saying then? They shouldn't be there? I mean, we need to stop thinking backward as a people and start thinking progressive. You can't say, I mean, the man, he did well. He is now the AG of Grenada. So God bless him. He do a good job and he just continue. And it is his record that spoke for him.
Yeah.
And
if you don't want to have a good record in life, how you expect to make it? Mm-hmm. You're supposed to have a good work record, good ethics, and then you will get job different places in the world that you go. Even in Timbuktu, once you have the qualification, it's not a problem. Mm-hmm. I think we as a people should start thinking in that way and stop thinking, it should only be we alone, and that's it. It shouldn't be so. So, gentlemen, have a great day.
Okay,
all
my
right,
friend.
thank you.
One love.
And we have to understand, and one of the weirdest things, Devon, is that you have people who are in the United States and Canada and the UK making statements about things like this.
Yeah, and condoning.
In other words, they're doing the same thing that they're saying. They're sitting in somebody else's country.
I mean, can they look in the mirror?
Let's go to the phone.
Good morning and welcome.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, accept my duty to the wall builders. Because not too long ago, a Grenadian went to Germany to work and not as a shopkeeper. But what I really called about, I think it was earlier on in your program, the news section, the minister mentioned about the shuttling of persons from Teen and Guelph side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But what about Lucas Street side?
From Lucas Street side?
Because what I'm saying, I'm coming from Guelph, and I figure, well, I don't want to park up there. I could just go up Tempe and come down Lucas Street. It's just an observation.
Yeah.
I will listen to you off there.
No problem.
All right.
I think what they're looking at is a model that's going to be implemented along with the Royal Grenada Police Force and so on. Now, what is being done is not that you're just going to say no vehicles entering there, no vehicles entering there, etc., etc. You have to do a scientific survey, so you have to do the vehicle count of the number of vehicles passing at a particular point. For instance, in the Greenbridge area, the number and type of vehicles passing at a particular time. And then you come up, you say at 9 a.m., we know these are the main types of vehicle passing at this point. At 7 a.m., we know these are the types that pass. At 10 p.m., these are the types of vehicle and the volume of vehicles that are passing at that particular point. And that information and those statistics will lend to the development of that particular plan and strategy. Now, over the years, they have done various bits and pieces of that. I believe that one will be done again before the final thing takes place. They're looking at parking areas, again, in the Tantine area on that end, because there's a high volume of traffic that comes along the Port Highway and through Tantine Top Road, heading into the town of St. George along the Carriacou. It causes traffic congestion sometime on the Port Highway, as I encountered this morning. I just changed my mind. I just turn around and go. And on the Carriacou as well. Those happen at specific times of day. In the morning when people are heading to work and people are heading to school and so, during lunchtime and in the evening time when people are heading home. So they have different times that these things happen so that they're looking at the park and ride. So it operates pretty well when we have major sporting activities and other activities that you have the park and ride.
Shuttles
and
so on.
Right. So that is what government will be looking at, the park and ride and shuttling of persons from the Tantine area into town. So you do have people having to go and try and take a quick park and say, I only taking 2 minutes there, and then they're getting clamped and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, I think it's high time that people look at that kind of dollar taxi kind of thing around town. Yeah, you don't have to wait on government to do that one.
Private.
That you have your car and you offer, okay, $2 drop around the town.
Yeah.
So somebody who is shopping on the Carriacou and they want to go across, because the price, when you hear the price to take a taxi sometime on the Carriacou to go into town, you're wondering what's going on. That's why Food Fair had to bring in the shuttle, and even Hotspot had their own shuttle and that sort of thing, because when you hear the price that a person pays for a taxi, so I think you probably need them thing, like in some countries you have dollar cab and $2 thing, yeah. Although you don't do dollar cab in the States again, and them thing going along. Them thing going along.
Flatbush and them now, they were major for that. Yeah, but something has to be worked out.
But it will be data driven. I can assure you it will be data, scientific approach.
It has to be.
In some cities, they have a toll. In other words, like it's come like, let's say by Keep Left, you put a big gate there, and you only allow vehicles with under 3 people to enter into the town for free. Anything with above 3 people in it, you pay a fee. Yeah, that I'm not saying that is what's going to be done or that's what's being considered. I'm saying that is what is done in some other countries to encourage. No, sorry. If it's under 3, if it's under 3, you pay. If it is over,
you don't pay at all. Yeah. The more you have, you don't have to pay.
So it's the opposite way. Just catch yourself. So that is what is done in some capital cities to reduce the volume of traffic in, because sometimes you could take a ride with a neighbor, or sometimes the husband have a vehicle, the wife have a vehicle, and everybody want to come down with the vehicle, and the son still coming later down with another vehicle and that sort of thing. So the carpooling is very important as well. So I think they probably will be looking at areas like by the stadium and so on for parking. Yeah. So all of those areas.
The areas, for example, around the Tantine area, that might be a tight one in terms of allocating, looking for adequate space and so for parking.
There is a bit of space on the ministerial complex grounds, but although when the ministerial complex was built...
Sir Eric Matthew Gary.
Sorry.
Eric Matthew Gary's garden, botanical garden,
Back in the days, when you look at the ministerial complex grounds, they had more than sufficient parking to handle that. But for some reason, public servants seem to have everybody have vehicle now.
Everybody have their vehicle now.
Because you have secretaries that have vehicle.
Oh yes.
You have junior officers in ministry. Everybody have vehicle now.
Field officers, everybody.
Yeah.
Plus the government transport.
It even have Imani driving. No, seriously.
Of course, they can afford it.
You have Imani.
Yeah.
Imani that have their own vehicle, and so when you look now, it's pretty congested over there. But you still have Old Trafford that isn't really used much for sports or anything again.
You may have to consider.
Old Trafford could be used.
Yeah, could be used.
And I'm not too sure you want to park over by the netball court. You damage the ground.
No. Tantine is out of it.
The netball court. And there's an area of the Tantine playing field that could be used. There's an area of it, part of it that could be used. And there may be one or two other areas that could be looked at.
Yeah, it could be a combination of areas that can be allocated for parking and so around and so. Just as we were talking about persons serving in different countries, right? Some information just coming. At one point in time, a Grenadian was the Governor General of St. Vincent.
Oh yeah,
and the Grenadines.
I didn't know that.
So Gun Monroe. Thanks for the information, Mr. Dabo.
Yeah. So, and look, I seen one saying here, serving the army, and you have Grenadians that have served. I mean, you have Mr. Bihari, who serves in the British Army.
Yep.
Yeah, Victoria Cross recipient and so on. Everybody proud of him. He ain't serving in the Royal Grenada Police Force. He's serving in the British Army.
Yep.
Yeah, so to be against people from another country who come and hold a position, and then you have to remember something about that particular position. The position of Attorney General is a cabinet position.
Cabinet position.
In other words, the Attorney General sits in the cabinet of Grenada.
Very important.
Yeah? They sit in the cabinet. So you can't just take anybody and put them there. Because there must be a certain level of confidentiality.
Yes.
But together with the level of confidentiality, there must be a level of ability. Yes, we're not saying that there's no one else with that in Grenada. Not saying that. But we're saying that the person who has gotten the job is just as qualified. Yeah?
Hannah and Brenda, I need some help. You guys volunteer. I mean,
you have the flu.
Yeah. You guys can
volunteer. He gave me the flu. Came in here in the AC with the flu and he gave Nazim. So now Nazim out. I still here fighting up and we have the flu. But Devon, earlier we had been speaking as well of the shifting of portfolios of permanent secretaries.
Yes.
And just to go a bit on that again, because some people seem to have a problem. Before we go on that, let's take this call.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Scott, and good morning, Devon.
Good morning, sir.
Happy New Year to you all.
Same here.
Good morning.
Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
I'm calling again and complaining on the that particular road we have in Annadale up here. The last time I complained about it, the bike, tourism bike have really damaged our road. But at least they came and they did some repair, small repair, just show some concrete stuff. But what I'm asking them now, the owners of the bike, if they could just come with a small machine and grade the road for us, Mr. Scott.
Okay.
It's really, really difficult for us now to use it with our vehicle because we have so many big holes and humps in it, what the bike creates. You know, it's really, really, really difficult for us trafficking.
I can understand. Okay, I'll pass that on to the bikers.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Watch me. So when I get some Mogo Michelle.
Boy, not yet, Devon, boy. I see nothing yet. I see no commission ready yet.
What, anytime you have,
yes.
If it's a two hand or something, let me know, please.
I'll do that.
Right? That hand was special. Thanks.
All right, good.
All right, one love.
Good, sir.
Yeah. Let me say a special good morning to my good friend Toro. Yeah. Toro, charge. Let's go back to the phone line.
Hey, good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon.
Good morning, my friend.
Good morning. What I'm saying, look, you have Grenadians working all over. All country go, you find Grenadians working. Alright? I remember under the previous government, you have a guy from Barbados, Mr. Seeley, he worked in a big job in Grenada. He knew the Grenadian. But we did not condemn him. Alright? So, like a culture said, what we hate, we turn on now, what we like, when we was in power, we turn on and hate it. The same thing. I want to say to we Grenadians, if we speak about a single Caribbean market, I'm speaking about coming together, we as Caribbean people, we should not try to buy somebody from our next country to work in Grenada, because Grenada working all over. You find Grenadians working. And what is happening to hear Grenadians working in the next country, calling and criticize our next man from the Caribbean working in Grenada. I want to see we to put aside that hatred and let us, if we say we agree with the single Caribbean market, alright, the single Caribbean, so we should not try to hinder next man from this country getting a job. Once you qualify for the job, it's well done. I see you're okay to get a job. And also I want to say to some that we adults, we have to respect ourselves. We have to respect ourselves because we have children and young people looking upon us to be good, their role model, right? And good role model. I was listening to the program from Shaggy, where a lady called and say, Kit Mitchell, right? Kit Mitchell, and them to just stand up for what is right. People call in and criticizing them, right? I want to say we have to respect one another, right? We might not like a person, but respect them for the office they are the whole. Right? Because you gain respect, you show respect, you get back respect. As the saying said, that what you sow, you reap. If you sow disrespect, you reap disrespect. So I want we as adults be good role model, and that good role is by let we show respect to young people. Because many times when young people do things, we want to lambaste and say all kinds of things about them. And something of the things that we are adults doing, we help young people to go that way. So I call upon the adults, let us respect ourselves and let us show respect to our leaders and those in authority. God bless you, Devon and Sheldon. And Devon.
Thank you, my friend. Wonderfully.
Yeah, if you give respect, you get respect. Yeah?
And you know,
hold on.
Notice that what goes around comes around. When someone does something wrong, they're often wronged in return. So picture this. If we give respect, we will get respect. And if we are violent towards others, they'll be violent towards us. But when we respect our parents and teachers, study hard, stay away from drugs, alcohol, and angry, violent companions, that's when our true potential comes out and our hopes and dreams are realized. Grenada's richest resources are not agriculture and tourism, you know. They are you. After all, you are the next generation.
Yeah, remember that one?
Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. And you know, and topping on that, Sheldon, I've been going through particular clips on Facebook, and I'm noticing that how some parents allow their children to put all sorts of awful clippings, messages, and so on Facebook for the world to see. You know, and I was looking at a particular clipping with a young boy. He could never be more than perhaps 6, perhaps 7 or 8 years.
Leron.
Right?
Leron.
And
I didn't even watch it. I started and
exactly, I just cut it off.
I didn't reach 10 seconds into it because I just knowing what I've seen before and knew what was coming. Yeah. So I can't even tell you what he said because I didn't listen as much as 10 seconds.
Well, I mean, we listened perhaps around the same time. I just ignored. I was like, how can someone, right, abuse a child like that, and I call it abuse, okay? How can you do that? Having a child, I mean, making such comments to things that they doesn't know about, getting them involved in things that they should not be involved in. That is disgusting to some of our parents out there and guardians, right? Right, you have access to the Facebook and Twitter and whatever. It's for adults, right? Don't allow our young children to get involved in these sort of ill-disciplined and disrespectful comments on
some
these
of them see it
things.
as funny, so
Yeah, they see it as funny. It's not.
It says a lot about it says a lot about the individual who tapes it, and it says a lot about the individuals who share it. It says a lot about them.
Yeah.
The individuals who could even watch the whole thing, it says a lot about them. Yeah, the individuals who could watch it, and as I said, I haven't watched it, so I can't tell you what was said in it, but it says a lot about the individuals because I'm hearing the comments and I'm seeing the comments. So I know that some bad word passing it.
Yeah, it's serious bad word passing.
I know that some bad word passing.
I mean, I heard one of the bad words and I was like, oops.
Yeah, so
no, that is disgusting. And I mean, one of our things asked if it was a child or a man-child. I mean, these things, right?
I think the child has a condition, one of these conditions. But anyway,
but again,
before we go any further, though, there's something I must say here. To those of you that may be just about to leave your home to head to see Honorable Emlyn Pear or Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis or Honorable Oliver Joseph or so on, they are not in office today. There is a Commonwealth Parliamentary Association meeting taking place in Grenada at this time. In fact, it started this morning. And all of the MPs, members of Parliament, are there. So the senators as well as the parliamentary representatives, they are presently at that session in the south of the island. I can't remember if it's at Radisson or where. But it is taking place this morning, for the day today, really. So all of the ministers are out to that activity. It's part of the Commonwealth Parliamentary Association. Grenada still being part of the Commonwealth, along with, I think it's 30-something countries or 20-something. I can't remember how much countries in the Commonwealth right now. But yeah.
No, man, a lot more than that in the Commonwealth.
Well, wherever.
A lot.
But the Parliamentary Association, they're having that meeting here in Grenada, and the Grenada delegation is out there to that. All of the MPs from both sides of the House, they are there at that meeting. So if you're heading to see Honorable Emlyn Pear, or you're heading to see Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis, also I know in their instances, I know that their office day is today.
Yulan being Horsford.
Right, they're not in. Also, the National Sustainable Development Plan, they'll be having a meeting tomorrow at the St. Andrew Methodist School.
Yeah.
That'll be taking place from 7 p.m. This meeting is based on how would you like to see Grenada by the year 2035. So they're looking at things like education, poverty, culture, health, agriculture, tourism, youth development, sports, just to name some of the areas that they're looking for. For those of you in St. Andrews South East, you can contact 435-0244 for more information in relation to that one. We have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you, my friend.
Season greetings.
Yes.
Same to you.
Yeah, I have a gripe, eh?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not here really to lambaste anybody, government or health personnel, otherwise, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But that concern goes for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the surgical ward at the General Hospital recently, and I was appalled at what I was seeing. The beds and mattresses, man, they were in a deplorable condition. And I will say, no matter we getting things from abroad, right? But we must choose, man. We must, discard those are not good. Although we say thank you, but discard the things that are not good and take those that are good. You understand? And I will tell you time, man.
Mm-hmm.
And I won't really go into the extreme, right? But the officials, they must do something about the condition in that time, please.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Man.
Thanks very much.
And the caller is making a point there that we've made before on the program, and that is always important to make. many times you have Grenadians and others in the diaspora that make donations back to Grenada. And they may make donations. They say, okay, we're sending down 50 mattresses or 10 hospital beds or whatever it is. But when you see the state of some of them when they reach down, you can't even. And then you hear now that, well, wait, how come they don't have that and they sent a set the last time? I remember once there was an individual that had contacted me years ago that wanted to send a container load of computers down to Grenada. So I said, okay, well, let's look at this. Computers and office equipment and all sort of thing. They wanted to make a donation and they wanted to send that down to Grenada. So they contacted me to do it. And my question was, what type of computers? And what is the state of the computers? When you hear the type of, I said, no, that doesn't make no sense. Don't bother to send that. Because what would have been sent would have ended up just taking up space on the landfill. Yeah? Because it was some companies that had changed out the computers. And they had these computers sitting in a storeroom for maybe about 5 or 6 years or whatever. And then they wanted to get rid of it. So let's send it to Grenada. No, don't send it to Grenada. Because you're talking about some things while we go on the flat screen, you're talking something like them old-time TV still.
Yeah, long back.
Yeah, we're doing that. What you going to do with that? Yeah, so people hear computers, so they get excited. You're sending us to the computers. So you get excited. But those computers couldn't even be upgraded to the level that you need it to be able to do anything. The software, everything is outdated. The parts, you can't find it. Some of the companies out of business and those sort of things. So you have to be very careful.
That's what you accept.
They say the thought counts. The thought really counts. The thought does count. But in the same token, make sure that what is being sent is useful and can be used and wouldn't just end up on a landfill.
I've noticed there's a very interesting conversation going on the live concerning the parking areas and so on. A lot of notable places have been identified as to, alternative sites and so, right? Depot, thanks for some of your contribution and so that you make into alternative areas and for parking and so on. I mean, there's a lot of...
Yeah, see, speaking about the cable and wireless building and one or two other areas and so on.
Yeah, the Bristol building, I think that's closer around cable and wireless, old dilapidated building. They even talk about the Nawasa's old building anyways.
But I know in the budget presentation, there was some discussions about some of the discrepant buildings around the town of St. George.
Yes.
And in the case where it belongs to government, flatten that.
Flatten that and
it. And, either you put a new structure or whatever you're doing with it, but flatten, get rid of them.
Get rid
Erase
of
them.
Yeah, for two reasons. One, rodents, and secondly, the danger it posed to pedestrians.
You had one that burnt just a couple of weeks ago, and that one, there was a murder that had taken place there. That's right, around by the Cooperative Bank area up on the hill there.
And
you had a big fire burning a building there. In fact, that building, I believe, was in that movie. That building had been in, if I'm remembering correctly, I think that movie was in Island in the Sun.
That building, that area there?
that burnt. I think that movie would have been part of Island in the Sun. Yeah, I think
that's where they basically level off there now and so right at the edge of the church.
Right to the back of the church, somewhere there. Yeah. There's the building. You're still seeing the building structure.
Well, that whole area they know they grade.
When this week, last week?
No, a while now. There's some construction.
No, wrong thing you're talking about.
Cooperative Bank, the Anglican Church.
I'll show you the picture. Wrong thing you're talking about.
Okay.
Nothing was leveled. This was a building. Yeah, not an empty area that burned. But yeah, so we have to look at that. Now, every time I'm going to talk about it, a call comes through, but the shifting of permanent secretaries. The shifting of permanent secretaries is a normal feature of the public service.
Always.
As with any person within the public service. I'm pretty sure that you've seen people who were in one department that ended up in another one. I'm sure you've seen people who were in customs department that are now working at the ministerial complex, isn't it? I know several people that were working in customs that are now working in the ministerial complex, and they're not working in customs, they're working in different ministries. I've known people that have shifted from Ministry of Finance over to the ministerial complex, or from the ministerial complex over to the Ministry of Finance.
Even some custom officers from the customs to the prisons.
Well, even if you're a police officer,
yeah.
you're a police officer and you receive notice today that you're based in Petit Martinique. So you have to go up the road.
Yes.
You're going up the road for our duty up the road. So no matter if you're a police officer, custom officer, immigration officer, because immigration officers, sometimes they're in immigration, sometimes you see they move to another department and that sort of thing. So whichever department you are in within the public service and whichever position you hold, you can be moved. You can be moved. It's part of the operation of the Public Service Commission.
Yeah. And then you see, look at it again. What's the problem? You have what? How many ministries? Every ministry either have one or two permanent secretaries. Every so often you need to change them around. The job of a permanent secretary is basically to administrate, to run the affairs of that particular ministry. So what is different when you shift one and move to another ministry? It's
but
basically
again, as I said, and I use the example of somebody, XPS Vida Victor Bruno, who I know probably passed in every ministry that it have, and probably some ministries that no longer exist. She passed in everything.
Miss
The same with
Elizabeth
the present CapSec.
Yeah.
Pass in Miss Burl Isaac.
Yeah, Miss Burl
pass
Isaac,
in probably every ministry that there is as a permanent secretary. And the thing is, it builds your capacity so that one day, because if you just want to be a permanent secretary and that's all, I think you're in the wrong line of work. But if you're a permanent secretary, you should be wanting to one day end up being the cabinet secretary.
Exactly.
Who is the leader of all the other, the head of the public service, the cabinet secretary. So I think that you should be aiming for that. But how can you become the cabinet secretary if you don't have experience across various ministries? So when an issue comes up in cabinet, because the cabinet secretary is just that, the cabinet secretary is actually in cabinet, sitting in cabinet, along with the attorney general and the various ministers. Some of you didn't know that, eh? Yeah, they do. So, good morning, Christelle. Yeah, you're up in the wagon? Nice, beautiful. Christelle up in the wagon. Yeah. So, the cabinet secretary has to have an understanding of the operations of all ministries. You have to have, you can't just take somebody and push them and say that's a cabinet secretary. You have to have an individual who understands what state, when a discussion comes up in relation to the Ministry of Youth, that person can say that this is what occurred before, this is what happened during my time, or lend to the discussion in some way. Yeah? Or when a discussion comes up in relation, in fact, the only ministry where you do not easily see a permanent secretary being changed is the Ministry of Finance. And there's a specific reason for that, in that the Ministry of Finance is a specialist area. So you don't generally see a permanent secretary leaving, for instance, leaving sports and going and become the permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. Because Ministry of Finance is a specific, it's a speciality area. Yeah? But you may see a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Housing go over to health. You may see the one from health go to social development. You may see the one from social development go to education. You may see the one from education go to sports. You may see the one from sports go to the Prime Minister's ministry. So you see different changes take place from time to time. I spent many years in the public service, and during that point in time, I saw many persons, not just permanent secretaries. I could count during my time probably about 5 or 6 persons that passed through as permanent secretaries within the Ministry of Youth and Sport. First was Ministry of Youth and then Youth and Sport. Yeah? And I named some of them yesterday. Mrs. Elizabeth Henry Greenidge. Mrs. Austin Cador. Mrs. Bowen. I'm trying to remember her first name, Mrs. Bowen. She was a permanent secretary at the point in time that the National Stadium, she ended. She was the one that was there when the stadium was being completed, and so Vida Victor Bruno was there at the initial stages and that sort of thing. Miss Eunice Sandy David, the late Nadika McIntyre, So all of these people I have known during my years. Right now you have a person who was you have Mr. Andal, who was previously the senior officer, not SAO. He was the coordinator of youth, and he's now a permanent secretary. So what you have now, because you have people like Mr. Finley Jeffrey, Mr. Kevin Andal, and one or two other permanent secretaries who are in their first stint as a permanent secretary. So in other words, they may only know right now that specific area that they're in, and they must get experience across the board. Yeah. And this is not the Prime Minister coming and say, take person A and put them there and person B and put them there. This is not a minister saying, I don't want this permanent secretary. In fact, you might find that a minister ain't want that one go, they really want that one stay. But the Public Service Commission has made a determination and decide that they want to give this person some more experience, or this person has various capabilities that can work in another ministry, and they said, let's shift this person around. Because between, notice has gone out, that between now and the end of February, 11 permanent secretaries will be rotated. And we use the word rotated because what happens, they're rotated, they're not fired.
And that is almost all of them. That's a majority of them.
Exactly. It's a majority of them that you're talking about here. Yeah. 11 permanent secretaries will be rotated.
About 14, 15 of them.
But you see, this is what happens. This is what happens when people do not understand the functioning and how government runs. So it's easy for somebody to jump on radio and say, government victimizing person A or government victimizing person B, because person A or person B has been shifted from Ministry A to Ministry B. It's easy for them to do that because, one, they're desperate, they have nothing else to talk about, and secondly, they have no understanding of how government operates. Yeah? And I blame them for that, because if they really want to know, the information is out there, they could find out. But they don't want to know how government operates. All that information is there. I remember walking into the ministerial complex one day when I was the public relation officer, and meet the secretary packing up first thing in the morning, because she got notification that as of that day, she's to report to the Ministry of Finance. In fact, I think she's still over in finance. But that is what takes place. So this sort of thing about somebody being victimized. How are you being victimized when, one, your salary remain exactly the same? So your salary ain't going down. Your salary remain the same. Your duties remain the same, but you're just in a different department. You're working basically just a few feet away from where you were working before.
What's the problem?
So what is, how is that? Somebody explain to me. Yeah? Somebody, please explain to me how that is victimization. And has anyone heard from the individual that's saying being victimized? Has anyone heard from them? Has anyone taken the time to talk to them and find out from them what they may be more than happy? In fact, they may be saying, boy, I'm looking forward to this thing. Yeah. I'm looking forward to this challenge.
And to gain the experience of being,
because in their mind, they may be looking 10 years down the road, 5 years down the road and saying,
exactly.
Boy, I feel I could make a good cabinet secretary, So let me get some experience, man. Let me get some experience in this ministry and that ministry and the other ministry and so on. Even if they want to put me in Ministry of Finance for a while, I take it. Give me the experience so that at the end of the day, I have broader experience. Yeah.
And you have some younger permanent secretaries now emerging. So there again, you need the experience, right, to shift them around, get them acquainted with the different ministries and so their service will be much more efficient. That is what we're looking for the Grenada government, the structure, the ministries and so to be run much more efficient. So you need to continue to shift around people until you are comfortable that you get the right persons in the right positions and the government is working efficiently. That is what we want.
Sometimes what you find may happen though is that a permanent secretary may not be shifted at a point in time if there's a major project going on under that department.
Yes.
That permanent secretary has institutional knowledge on and they need to complete. You may find that they are not shifted.
And they're being kept there.
Until that is completed, or until it gets to a stage where somebody else could pick up and just move with it. So I'm trying to understand, because some of these things I hear they're attempting to make international issues. I'm wondering, because to me they just make absolutely no sense.
I can't.
Permanent secretaries are shifted around, not just here in Grenada, every country that has the Commonwealth system, the Westminster system. They are shifted around from time to time, as I said, with the exception, generally, of your permanent secretary in the Ministry of Finance. But whether it's the Prime Minister's ministry or it's the Ministry of Health or wherever, you shift permanent secretaries around. If persons are saying that maybe we need to look at a different formula or a different format for that, that's another something. But if the correct policy is put in place within a ministry, doesn't matter who the permanent secretary is once they effectively carry out that policy. Yeah? So it doesn't mean that the permanent secretary within the Ministry of Health has to be a doctor. Or former doctor or something. But once they have the institutional knowledge to carry out the policy that is put in place, that's all you need. And that's why you have SAOs and other people that are the professional people within the ministry to assist. And as Toro is pointing out, Toro is pointing out there, permanent secretaries basically run the ministries, you know.
Well, they are the ones that run the ministries.
And permanent secretaries kind of get paid more than the ministers too. No, I remember, Devon, I remember going to Westminster, to the British Parliament, and having that discussion with an Australian MP that permanent secretaries are being paid more than ministers. He say, welcome to the club.
So it's not a...
Because it was happening, not Australia, sorry. Australia. This guy was from Australia. And he was saying, that happens even in our country sometimes. That happens that you find a person, because they've been there for X amount of years and so on, the different things that build up, that sometimes you find that the permanent secretary ends up being paid more than the minister, the MP who is running that particular ministry.
And that has happened. And next, the whole question of, like, for example, Cap 6, and so. It's similar to the permanent secretary. For example, I have known new governments come in, and one of the things they do, they change their CAPSEC, right? A very, very important position, right, within that structure, right? And so some people talk about victimization and this and that. No,
not victimization. You must trust your cabinet secretary.
Confidence.
The same way you must trust your attorney general.
Exactly.
So if you cannot trust the person who is your cabinet secretary, then you can't have them as your cabinet secretary.
And then if you notice...
That's easy to understand.
Very easy. and if you notice, for example, the Attorney General, after an election, when the Prime Minister has been sworn in, the Attorney General is one of the first cabinet appointees, you know.
Yeah. We have a call online.
Good morning and welcome.
Yes, Sheldon and Devon.
Good morning. Good morning. Morning.
Morning.
And good morning to Grenada.
Yes, indeed.
I like to say, Sheldon, I like to talk a little bit about Grenada. And the things Grenada is doing for we as citizens of Grenada. Last year it was the Wall Street Journal. This year it's the Bloomberg News. And the Wall Street Journal and the Bloomberg News, these two news entities are highly credentialed. These two news entities caters to the upper enchiladas. And for Grenada to be featured in those two news entities, it has to be that the leader, kudos to Dr. Mitchell. Let's give him that. As the leader of the government, year after year, we see Grenada being favored as sought after tourism destination. But we have people every day trying to, say that he's not doing a good job. But people from the outside is hipping the praises on him. Hence, they're saying in those news that Grenada is the destination that you should look into visiting for 2019. So I wonder, why is it that we, the people who at home, cannot see the good things that he's doing by attracting the outside people to come to Grenada. You know, sometimes we got to put aside our hate and let's just accept the talent and the capacity of the individual, and you know, allow Grenada to continue to be prosperous. In that way, each and every one of us would be able to benefit from a better Grenada. Not try to destroy the good things that we have, because too many times as individuals, we only get to realize how good someone is when they're no longer there and we no longer have the opportunity they're no longer there. That's when we start to say, oh, they was good. Sometimes we got to wake up and be grateful and be thankful that, you know, we have such a good individual around us that we can better the country, in turn better our lives. Thank you very much, man.
All right, thank you. You know, when you say things like that, you know, you just have to play. You just have to play. Let me touch.
Has lived and died among us, but it's only after the dead and gone they seem to get some recognition. But while some of them live, they suffer and grin for basic necessities, and then to add more insult to injuries, they crying long tears for the deceased. But not to study them when you hear they opening up their mouth. No, when Larry was alive, a roast breadfruit was his only growth. But on the day he passed away, so many nice things did he say. I had to wonder if it's the same person they was talking about. I don't want no happy hour, don't like candles on the head. No, give me flowers before I dead. No crocodile tears, enough of that had been shed. I said to give me flowers before I dead.
Yeah, you know, you used to hear that with always not Gary say. I used to think it's Gary saying, but it's Neri, yeah? But with Sir Eric Matthew Gary, you used to hear so much negative things about Sir Eric Matthew Gary, and when he died, and you saw the funeral taking place, and you see some of the faces that went there, and you hear some of the things that they were saying, you had to wonder, you know, man, because but this was the man used to tell me that Gary was what is it? Then you see some people write articles in the newspaper and think about Sir Eric Matthew Gary, and you had to wonder. But one thing though, Dr. the Right Honorable Keith Mitchell made sure that he praised Sir Eric Matthew Gary. Remember the car that he gave to the state of Grenada, gave Sir Eric Matthew Gary a car before he died. I think it's pretty, Uncle Prudhomme ended up in the car. Yeah, so made sure that Sir Eric Matthew Gary was is what it's called, emulated. That's what it's called, emulation.
Yeah, but I don't know. We tend to, as the songwriter said, we tend to forget persons who have made and continue to make contributions. And when they die, you think. That's why I always say, when you die and the funeral, it's a celebration, you know, and not a time for mourning, because you celebrate the life and time of that person, the good things that they have done towards their family, their community, their country, and so.
I read something over the holidays. A family member will not fly to see you when you're living, but he'll take time off and come down for when you're dead.
Yes, and pay all the money when you're dead.
That make any sense, man?
A celebration. Good morning and welcome.
Morning, Sheldon, and I'm Devon.
Good morning, darling.
I'm sitting here listening to you all, and good morning to Grenada. Good morning to all my friends in America, England, Canada, that are listening to the HARDTALK program this morning. You know, Sheldon, as you say, you talk about Sir Gary. You know, you have some people, there's hypocrites. There's a lot of hypocrite people in Grenada. I have no apology. They're hypocrites. You understand? The same thing they will do, something bad happen. With the Prime Minister, they will think that is what it is. A lot of us just forget of the goodness of people. When Gary died, everybody who didn't like him, who didn't want to have him around, they go crying in the cemetery and they have to say the good thing. Look at how they treat the Prime Minister, Mr. Dr. Keith Mitchell. They have no respect for his office. A woman called this morning on the program. She called him in name. They have no respect for the man. If you said we don't like him, they have no respect for the office he holds in this country. A bunch of hypocrites. Look at me again. There is people that would love to see I lose me 2 foot. Sheldon, and I don't have to say that. When I'm ready, I go calling them. They will love to see I lose me 2 foot where they could help. They want to know I lose me 2 foot and at the woman they go say, oh God, Camille, she good. Where they could help me to get better medical health. A bunch of hypocrites you have in this country. And I don't want to say it. You understand? The Prime Minister helping so much of people. And sometimes they just stop my God. When they come and they sit down here and the thing they say. And then when I see them in church, big hug, big shake hand. You don't like him, you don't like him. You have to be a hypocrite. And we don't have time. When you're ungrateful, ungrateful is like a curse. Grenadian. Or you have to be careful what you're doing. What are you saying? You know, I, for one, there is a few people in this country here that I'm grateful for the help. I am grateful from the bottom of my heart. People like Mr. Atway, they go Atway. When I look at my children, they go used to buy a book for my children. Mr. Lickerman used to buy a book for me. Deborah used to buy a book for me. They buy the book and give me. I can be ungrateful to these people. I can be ungrateful to Patty. I can be ungrateful to Mr. Mitchell. I cannot be ungrateful to Peter. Papa God will put a cost on Miss Kami. And a lot of other people. We have to be grateful for the little things. And we have to stop this biting one another. That man not calling on the Prime Minister. He wearing only man jacket and he tie. But he had the worst thing to see. All the man jacket and he tie. And he had the worst thing to see.
Kami.
Oh, you have to stop this thing because we need each other. We need each other in this country. You never know what will happen tomorrow. Stop this running your mouth on the man. None of us public will make mistakes. But all there's not nothing nice to say about the man. You had the man jacket wearing and he died. You go in the class to take it out the damn jacket and put on and know you have nothing nice to say. Watch, again mad now, eh? Have a good day.
Have a good day, darling. You know what is amazing?
I know about that about me.
Kami has always, in her contributions, always give advice to the Grenadian people as to how to be grateful, how to appreciate the little things that we receive. You understand? She uses herself as an example, but that is a message for all of us. Some of the worthless things that we continue to do against each other, we need to stop it. We need to be grateful that we are alive, right? And to love each other, to be part of each other. But instead, we continue to fight and destroy each other in the name of what? Heaven knows.
Well, if you want to see how nice a man is, go to funeral.
I'm telling you. That's why I say it's a celebration.
You want to hear how nice a man is. Go to a man's funeral, you go hear how nice he is.
Say all kinds of things you don't even know about that gentleman. Yeah? And so you say, or that lady, you say the most.
Well, let me tell you what to do. Let me tell you what to do in the funeral. Eh? If you go to a funeral, to tell you how hypocrite some of us are. Yeah? If you want to go to the funeral, go and sit down inside to the front and listen to the sermon and listen to all the nice things that are being said.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear the hypocrite on them, go to the back of the church where some of them stand up. Oh, the wretch. Long had he waiting for him to dead. Too nasty. He used to do this and he used to do that. Also, when they're burying him, don't go and stand up next to the hole. You see, just how some people stand up by the road. Some of them just go and stand up by the road and all kind of thing. They go in near the hole.
No, they go near the
because they know they want to speak the hypocrite. So they go in and stand up by the hole.
Yeah, and they getting drunk. So people go say, oh, you're drunk, man. You say what you want.
Yeah, about 3 children the wife don't know about.
Yeah.
They go in and stand up quite by the road and talk. Hypocrite.
Watch that time, a funeral. A young lady died from Grenville. And, some of the remarks I heard, some of her friends said, she damn stupid. What the hell she go and get small and kill herself for some man? I'd be like, oh my God, you just come out in a funeral and bury your friend. And this is what you're saying about her?
No, it's different.
Well, it can be.
Let's take this call.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, and good morning to your listening audience. Okay, now, the first thing is that, Mr. Scott.
Yes, sir.
I hope you all could do some follow-up on that before the program, hopefully, before the program ends, because I don't be saying that, but I understand that the X-ray machine at the PA is functioning. But I did have a caller this morning, make some statements, about getting it and, getting it back working.
At the
so
Princess
I
Alice
don't know,
Hospital?
you could use your connection and then, we could clarify that.
Okay.
Now, victimization. No, for me and Mr. Scott, listen to me carefully. No, I believe in a one-party state. With everybody on the same page. So the word victimization does not carry the same weight in my kind of, system like what it carries in a democracy. You must be on board. I don't have you, working in an area, in me, you understand, and working, against maybe what we pushing. Now, victimization again. Now, listen to this, Mr. Scott and Devon. Yeah, I work for the hotel chain Mandarin Oriental, Wyndham, the Raphael Group, and the Princess Hotel. That was in Bermuda. Now, at the time in Bermuda, people could find a job in a day or two. As a matter of fact, you could leave a job in the morning, and by next morning, you could get a job. So as a person, me, that had a serious input in terms of hiring and reviewing application, I make no apology for what I'm saying here now. I suppress some application, which was locals, in order to bring in my Grenadian brothers and sisters to work on that island. And I make no apology for doing so. I'm quite comfortable, with that. Quite comfortable. Now, listen to this. I also believe that the majority of teachers will attend the meeting today, and they will understand the situation of the country, and they will make a more rational decision. So I'm optimistic about the way forward, and like the Prime Minister said, that is not a crisis. Now, let me quickly wrap here. I listened to Mr. Bowen extensively this morning, and like I've said, I have made the same suggestion regarding the stadium when it comes to, one of the ways that we can ease the traffic, in the city. And I made that, yes. And I must say, and that was based on my experience in Singapore in terms of how they handle their things out there. One of the things I also want to say is that once that materializes, the parking outside of the city, it means that the limited parking that we will have on the streets in the city cannot be occupied for more than 2 or 3 hours at a time. What it means is that if you stay in that parking area there for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, when the traffic warden passes during the patrol, that vehicle should not be in the same position. If not, then we will have to ticket it. So the parking is not for an all-day kind of thing. Gentlemen, listen, Mr. Scott. So you see, I don't share certain opinions there, and I don't want to bring other countries into Grenada business too much. But you see, I live in places that people are highly disciplined, and the law of the land reigns. Now, do you know it? I live in Bermuda, where there was one vehicle per household, or unit. Every vehicle is assigned to an assessment number. Example, if you have a 4-bedroom house, that's only one vehicle. It don't matter, if everybody in that house could afford a vehicle. It's one vehicle. The only so that 4-bedroom house will have other vehicles assigned to it is if you take 1 or 2 bedrooms, and make it into an apartment, a rental unit, separate unit. That is the only so you could have other vehicles. And you know something? There was no used vehicle market. When you buy a car, there was no resale value for that car. You use that car, and when that car finished, it finished. As a matter of fact, some vehicles and when your vehicle finish, in order for you to get a new one, you have to wait a year. And in order to show that this vehicle is no longer in use, it had to be cut in 2. You understand? It had to be drained, the oil drained, and it cut in 2. You could not have bring in no used vehicle from nowhere in the world, even if the vehicle was 1 year old. You get what I'm saying? So sometimes I express an opinion from some from serious experience, and background. And the point is that, listen, when you buy a vehicle, buses or whatever, it's a privilege you have with a license to drive on the road. So you have to obey all the rules and regulations that govern this road and govern your license. And failure to do so, the powers that be, we have to get more serious. We have to start taking people license for 2 and 3 months and 6 months at a time. Have a pleasant day, gentlemen.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right, my friend.
We operate within a normal capitalist system which allows individuals to make a decision as to how many vehicles they would like to have. And if they want to have 1 or 1,000, as long as they can afford it within the capitalist system, they are allowed to do that. If they decide the vehicle that they have, they want to get a second-hand vehicle, within the capitalist system, they can do that. If they decide that they want to dispose of the vehicle that they have right now within the capitalist system and within the laws of Grenada and the environmental concerns, they can do that. So it is, you understand that, but we live within a capitalist system where certain things are allowed. People are allowed to own a vehicle, own certain classes of vehicle and things like that.
Democracy. Part of democracy.
Yeah, part of democracy. All right, 4407377
and 347-329-3101.
Yes, indeed. So again, we discussed the issues at the permanent secretaries, and again, these are things that are easy to understand if one really wants to understand. And Zingo, and Mr. Watts, good morning, Mr. Watts, good morning, Zingo. Yeah, these are things, muscles, these are things, Burbis, these are things that people can understand if they really want to understand them. If they seriously make a conscious effort to find information and to put out truthful information in relation to these things, they can. But you would realize that the modus operandi of certain individuals. Now, and this is what... Deepo, give me a quote for this one, because I fail to understand. You have been operating in a particular way between 2013 and 2018. A general election came up in 2018. The same result that you ended up with in 2013, you got again in 2018. And for you to change your way of operation, instead of changing your way of operation, you decide that you're going to stick with it. Well, you like the results that you're getting. It have to be that you like the results. I mean, if we're speaking political party here and you say the New National Party, then the New National Party likes the results it's getting, so I will say continue doing things in the way that you've been doing it. Of course, looking every now and again and doing some introspection and some reflection and that sort of thing. But if you're the NDC and you like what you're getting, because you continue doing, around this time last year, the exact same set of nonsense that you were hearing from the NDC camp, 1 year later, and 15 seats down again, you're hearing the same nonsense again. It's like no intent on changing.
NDC really have a camp? I mean, after the last...
A tent.
Not even a tent.
A tent.
Perhaps a jupa.
Sleeping bag.
Because, I mean, over the last couple of months, based on the utterance and all the activities going on in that organization, I mean, Grenadians are rapidly losing all confidence in having a political organization like that representing them at any level at all.
Yeah, because I believe that they probably like the position that they're in because they refuse, and I'm not giving advice to them
like
here.
They love.
They love, yeah. They hate what they like.
Yes.
They love being in that position. We know certain ones of them like that position because then they could go and make a look beg here, make a look beg there, and that kind of thing. We know that. But in the context of this, that you continue saying nonsense. Last year, January, they were on radio and all kind of thing about NNP going out of office and they going and win the election and what going to happen and Dr. Mitchell looking to run and what they going to do this one. You remember the same xenophobic behavior. Remember they did an ad on me. They had a whole ad that they circulated on me and then tried to distance themselves from it, saying it's not them. Yeah, that same sort of behavior, and you're not learning. You come back with the same need. I realize there's over 6,000 people on this island right now who were born in other countries, and there's 6,000 voters. You have a caller.
Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Sheldon. Good morning, Devon.
Good morning,
my
sir. Sheldon, I didn't hear you say, you and Devon say anything about ministers. Are you talking about permanent secretary? What about the ministers when the prime minister had to, come out and read the thing and move ministers from here, from left to right?
I myself was moved.
Yeah, remember the prime minister, look at Sister Evelyn Pierre from sports, so look what she did.
Yeah.
Just think about it. I mean, it's only common sense. So I don't know what people calling about. You move people to different portfolio because they got to get the experience. Yep. If today tomorrow Sister Evelyn Pierre has to be the prime minister of Grenada in the future, she has to know all the ministries. Yeah. She has to learn it. You understand? She can't sit on one place. I want to be prime minister.
I believe one of the ministers, present ministers too, that has, been shifted around more than I believe anybody else is the lioness herself.
Yeah. Honorable Paris Modest. She has been.
Yeah, sure. Look at she was in tourism 4.5 years. Keep on. Look go right around.
Works, health. I don't think she ever get education.
Education or finance. I think she.
You know what I mean?
Education and finance is the only two I don't think she passed.
Yeah, because that's the way it works. Exactly. To get the experience, and experience is the greatest teacher. So when you hear somebody move you, your salary don't change until it's kudos to them. And another thing too, Sheldon, you cannot leave people too long in one position. You know what happened? I worked for a company for 1 year. There was one man inside it. Sheldon, first thing in the morning, last thing in the night. He not leaving the place. I went to the front office, I said he's stealing. You know, they almost found me for that. The man got sick and went to hospital. Sheldon, they put somebody else in the post. The man was giving himself raise. Nobody. The man give himself raise and nobody know. Because he's the big man.
You know, there's a saying from
and then everybody come back now and say, well, Mr. Peters, boy, I think you are good mouth, you know. How you don't know them thing? I tell him I'm going to bluff. We go take care of business. You ain't going nowhere. First thing in the morning, last thing in the night. You ain't leaving the company for nothing. You ain't taking vacation. I said, he's stealing, man. I said, that old Grenadian man, he's stealing. Yeah, that's why I tell them, from that time, management respect me. They want to know how I could think about that. I say, how I could think about that, I come from Grenada. We know how to take a freaking crowbar and move a big stone. We know how to do that. We don't know nothing about them things. Anyhow, we go talk.
All right, my friend. Take care.
There's a saying, an old saying that goes, familiarity breeds contempt. Yes, sometimes because you know a person, even though that person may move from point A to point B. Because you're familiar with them, you grow around, you know them, you feel you could still just talk to them anyway. And operate in a certain way. Or that you become so accustomed to something that you think is okay to go ahead and do this or okay to go ahead and do that. Familiarity breeds contempt. Yes, you have to be very careful. You have to be very careful.
And the whole question of respect for each other is so important. Right? As we always say, if you want respect, you got to give respect. Understand?
Yeah, boy, Devon, this time last year, so man throwing talk for man and all kind of thing about, all your days numbered, the afraid to call the date, doc, all kind of, and you still just haven't shifted gears out from that into sensible statements and sensible things. I mean,
they have not yet recovered, I don't think that yet recovered.
But still, the government, they didn't recover from the 2013 either.
Well, yes,
but the government is doing things that are positive for the country. But yet still, they just refuse to acknowledge it. So the economy is much better than it was under them. You're seeing the improvements to the economy and all of that. They refuse to acknowledge it. They just refuse bluntly to acknowledge it. Yeah? It's just like nothing good should happen unless it's under the government that they want.
Stiff naked fools.
And one caller was making a point earlier and saying that they don't know why the majority of Grenadians are not the ones making these sort of negative statements and so on.
No.
That's not the majority. Yeah? Remember last election they were talking about the silent majority? Well, they saw what the silent majority did to them.
Yeah. Destroy them.
The silent majority did to them.
Second time around.
Yeah. So,
consecutive.
And it's not an excuse to get complacent. There's still a lot of work to do.
Oh, too much.
No matter which area we're looking at, there's still a lot of work to do. And government continues to acknowledge that and continues to work towards ensuring that we have a better Grenada for each and every one. Yeah, continuing to work towards that. So again, we're quickly running out of time, but before we go, just to let individuals know again, if you're going to run off now to say you're going and see the Honorable Emlyn P or the Honorable Kate Skeeter Lewis or the Honorable Yolan B. Hosford or one of the MPs, they are at a session today. So they'll not be in office today. Most of them will be having an office day tomorrow where you'll be able to come in and see them and so on. All right? Yeah, down to the Prime Minister as well. He's at that session this morning.
Also,
it's a post-election CPA conference, Communal Parliamentary Association conference.
Also, just a reminder, at about now, all government schools should be
2 minutes from closing.
From closing down.
Go and pick up your child.
Yeah, to accommodate the meeting of the teachers, and so at the Grenada Boys Secondary School at 1 o'clock today. Right, so hey, we expect all teachers, wherever you are, to make a special effort to attend. Be part of the decision making so you will not get caught with your pants down for people to be making decisions for you. You are grown, you are mature, you are educated. You are the ones that are teaching our children, educating the future of our country. We pray and hope that you make correct and right decisions for the future of this country.
Yes, indeed, yeah. So make sure and go out there. And then I think the government negotiating team and the unions, they meet on Friday. So I know the Public Workers Union, they have had their meeting. Although from all indications, from what I've heard, it wasn't that well attended. But that's what I've heard. I can't say for sure because I was not there. But that's what I'm talking about, second or maybe even third-hand information here.
And that's
it was not that well attended. We do hope that the teachers' meeting is well attended and that good sense prevails. We ain't going to tell you what good sense is, but good sense prevails. Yeah, look at the facts because, and this is the kicksy one, had instances of some people, even teachers, before the Christmas, and we will end on this one, before the Christmas that were out there. Why Dr. Mitchell pay the money? Pay the money, need that money for the Christmas? I don't know, carpet to buy. I think pay that money
for the Christmas.
You know? Brother man. And I continue to say that I saw at least one individual who was jumping and shaking and placard waving in front of the teachers' march, who will not qualify for a gratuity or a pension until the year 2042. 2042.
That's over 20 years, isn't it?
How many years you had to spend within the service to be able to qualify?
26.
Right. So if they were appointed in the year 2018, all right. So it's until about 2042 that this individual will be able to get a pension or a gratuity. But there are many people that will how I could put it, not misrepresented, but they were misinformed in relation to the issue and thought that it was some sort of payment that government had to come and make before the Christmas.
Before the Christmas, like a bonus.
Like a bonus or a one-off payment. It's not a bonus or a one-off payment or a back pay.
You know.
Yeah? It is actually money that you and I, John and Joan and Jane and Devon and Desiree, taxpayer,
and Jenny
have to go and find to pay. We have to find that money. It's more government. Government come, government go. We are the ones that are going to have to pay through the nose for this system. Yeah? Including the same teachers.
Including the same teachers.
Yeah, because don't think that because they're receiving, they ain't getting taxed too.
Yep.
So you might get with one hand and take back with the next. So at the end of the day, let good sense prevail.
Always.
All right? Let good sense prevail. Folks, that's all the time we have for Hard Talk today. It's been a wonderful one being here with you. My name is Sheldon Scott.
I'm Devon Romain.
And in whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you.
And not about you.
Yeah, I think we turn back that one to end.
Yeah.
Some celebrating, some wicked politics who they playing, but only mad people will do such thing, cause the blind could see such an existing. So to all them politicians that claim they don't understand, independent don't have still remain a mental sham. I must let them know my independence manifesto. When we could manufacture we cocoa.
All that's happening with the new National Party, NNP. Send us a message via text or WhatsApp on 405-8683 with your name, email, and constituency. Stay in the know with NNP. Get updated.